Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin has just taken out the exact liquidation level to the downside that was sitting on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map just yesterday. But we now have a new price target on this Bitcoin price chart that we need to pay attention to in the immediate short term, as the Bitcoin dominance is continuing to dump, causing a further altcoin season, at least for now. But in the immediate short term, Ethereum is currently playing out a short-term bearish divergence alongside the price of Solana, also now playing out a short-term bearish divergence. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly time frame, we still have a bearish divergence to watch out for, which is currently forming but not yet confirmed. And on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we still have bullish momentum, but in the immediate short term, the momentum is starting to slow a little bit, but overall still more bullish than bearish. And on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, of course, we still have an active cup and handle pattern, a bullish price pattern still currently playing out, because this would only get invalidated if we see a confirmed candle close on the 3-day time frame back below this line right here, which is sitting at around 110,000. And so obviously, if the price of Bitcoin actually breaks back below that level right there, then in that situation, that would invalidate this price pattern and invalidate this price target. But at least for now, once again, that's not currently happened, which means the price target at around 153,000 is still currently in play. So overall, on the larger time frames, we're still very much looking bullish in a larger bullish trend, also known as a bull market. But if we're zooming into the daily Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, in the somewhat shorter term during the larger bull market, clearly the price of Bitcoin is still struggling at this major area of resistance that obviously I've been warning about here on the channel since before we hit this area of resistance. And this area I'm talking about is based on this 1618 Fibonacci extension level, sitting at around 121,000 to 122,000. But I've been saying many times here on the channel, really in the low 120k area, so basically in between around 120,000 to 123,000. So just either side of this level right here, expect a lot of resistance around there on the price chart. But obviously that's exactly where we've seen the price struggle and see some short-term rejections from many times over the last 1 week or so. And so just don't be surprised if we continue to struggle a little longer at this exact area of resistance, considering at least for now it is still acting as strong resistance. But obviously this is also providing some opportunities in the altcoin market, because while Bitcoin just consolidates sideways, we're still within a larger bull market. And obviously with the Bitcoin dominance dumping, this is causing a lot of opportunities in the altcoin market, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But if we're zooming further into the short term for the price of Bitcoin, we can see that right now, obviously the price of Bitcoin is basically just consolidating sideways during the larger bullish trend. And so for now, we're just seeing short-term bullish moves and of course short-term bearish moves. Now, I talked about a potential short-term bearish move happening right here in my last video, and a lot of people were already scared about this happening right here. I got a few comments in my last video saying we've just dumped, we're seeing a massive crash right now in the price of Bitcoin. But if we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, this is what just happened over the last 1 day. Obviously, absolutely nothing. We're still in a bull market, guys. Don't be afraid of this short-term price action, which is what I've been talking about recently here on the channel. Don't be trapped, don't be fooled by short-term little moves on the smaller time frames, because once again, looking at the bigger picture, we're still within a larger bullish trend. We're simply just struggling at this exact resistance, which I've already been warning about since before we hit the exact resistance. And so this is all very normal price action to see. It's very normal to see little cool-offs from time to time to reset price oscillators like the RSI during the trend in order to give us more room towards the upside later on. But just letting you know that it's likely that this consolidation, this struggle around this resistance could likely happen for at least the next few days, maybe a little longer, but at least in the shorter term here, expect a little bit more of a struggle for the price of Bitcoin. And of course, once again, that sideways consolidation is comprised of short-term bullish moves and of course, short-term bearish moves. And to figure out whether we might see another short-term bullish or short-term bearish move, we can take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, because obviously recently, as I've been saying here on the channel, this Bitcoin liquidation heat map has been very accurate at pointing out the most likely move for the price of Bitcoin in the shorter term. Because obviously, if you've been watching my videos even just for the last half a week, you'll know that right around here, I said it's extremely likely that over the next 1 or 2 days, we're going to see a little bit more of a short-term bullish move towards around 120,000. And obviously, from that point onwards, we hit just above 120,000, exactly as I said, based on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And then, of course, we had liquidity building to the downside, as I recorded in my last video, sitting at roughly around 117,000 and just above 117,000. So when I recorded my last video roughly around here, I said it's very likely we're going to see a slight little dip to just below or very close to 117,000 to take out that liquidity. And obviously that exactly played out here in the short term. And so now that all of that's played out exactly as predicted, what is the Bitcoin liquidation heat map showing right now? And well, right now it is showing more liquidity below the price of Bitcoin, not far below, but just below the price of Bitcoin, sitting at really at around 116.5k to 116.8k. So basically in between 116,500 to 117,000. So only, once again, just below the price of Bitcoin here is the next major level of liquidity, which is pointing towards potentially another little drop in the price. Obviously not a major crash. A lot of people must be just looking at the 1 minute time frame, because a lot of people were talking about a major crash just yesterday. But guys, this is not a major crash right here. This is just a slight little dip in the short term. But just be aware that it's quite likely, never a guarantee, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee, but it's very likely that sometime soon, most likely within the next few days or so, it's quite likely we could hit just these slight lower levels here, once again at close towards 16,500, give or take out this liquidity. And then of course we still have a little bit of liquidity still building above the price at around just above 121,000. So maybe we hit around 116,500 first, and then ultimately see another little relief towards that higher level of liquidity. And so overall, that's the most likely scenario, at least based on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map here in the shorter term for the price of Bitcoin. But once again, this is pointing towards a little bit more choppy sideways price action. If we're really looking at the price chart here, obviously short-term bearish and short-term bullish moves, but in a bit of a sideways price range, basically consolidating sideways, still struggling at this major resistance, but zooming out further, still within a much larger bull market. But obviously, if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to BTNX, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive bonuses over here. For example, you can claim up to 40,000 USDT in futures bonuses, so trading bonuses here, and also massive deposit bonuses. For example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. But that's only available if you use the link below this video to actually make your BTNX account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim some massive bonuses. For example, up to $50,000 in trading bonuses, and also a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000 over on 2bit, you get a $200 bonus into your 2bit account. But once again, only if you use that link. And so obviously, if you're trading crypto anyway, you might as well check out these exchanges, the first and second link below this video, to take advantage of these major bonuses. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance price chart on the 3-day time frame, and at least for now, we're still playing out the short-term dump, still playing out a bearish divergence on the 3-day time frame, which at least for now, and obviously over the last 1 to 2 weeks, has been causing an altcoin season. And so obviously, I've already been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, and it's still playing out. And at least for now, we have no immediate signs in the short term that this will actually reverse back in the bullish direction. At least for now, the bearish divergence is still currently active. We're still showing a bit more bearish momentum, and definitely not any significant bullish momentum, at least for now, for for the Bitcoin dominance, but this is not necessarily bad news for the price of Bitcoin. As I always say, the price of Bitcoin can go towards the upside even if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish. What this simply means, in case you're new to all of this, is that the altcoin market in general, the altcoin market on average, is performing better than Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is bullish, altcoins are even more bullish. In other words, an altcoin season. And so once again, this is still currently playing out as of recording this video. And if we're taking a look at the Ethereum price chart on the 3-day time frame, obviously Ethereum has already massively benefited in the shorter term over the last 1 to 2 weeks from this drop in the Bitcoin dominance. And this is exactly what I've been talking about, especially that breakout on the ETH BTC chart that I talked about over the last 1 to 2 weeks, perfectly playing out. And so for now, we're still on our way towards the next major area of resistance, a very significant area on the price chart on the 3-day time frame here, sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. So if the price gets towards that level, expect a lot of resistance, a lot of struggle, and most likely a rejection from around that area on the price chart if we can actually get there. And on the daily Ethereum price chart, obviously, we also have a bit of resistance at roughly around 3.7k, which just in the immediate short term, we got very close to 3.7k and started to struggle around there. So once again, that 3.7k level approximately is already a level of resistance I've been talking about for a long time now on the channel. So continue to expect resistance close to 3.7k as we're already starting to find. And as for short-term support, in case we were to see some sort of little pullback here, expect support at roughly 3.5k and also a lot of support in between 3.2k to 3.3k. But in the immediate short term, zooming into the 2-hour Ethereum price chart, of course, I've already been talking about this recently here on the channel as well. We do technically have a short-term bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs now confirmed in the 2-hour Ethereum RSI. So this is a sign that in the immediate short term, we're losing bullish momentum, and we're most likely going to see either a slight pullback in the price or at best a bit of choppy sideways price action, most likely for just a couple of days, give or take. Once again, this is only just in the short term. This is not a long-term signal. And clearly, this is already perfectly starting to play out as we can see. And this could likely continue to play out at least for the next few hours, most likely at least for the next 1 day, give or take, maybe a little longer, maybe another 2 days. But that sort of time frame, most likely for the next day, give or take, I do expect this to continue to play out here in the short term with price action, kind of like what we've just seen over the last 1 day. But remember, when we see little short-term cool-offs like this does not necessarily mean the larger trend is over, the larger bullish trend, because this can help to reset price oscillators like the RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which can technically give us more room towards the upside again to ultimately resume the bullish trend further towards the upside. Because especially on the daily time frame and the 3-day time frame, obviously we still have a lot of bullish momentum. At least for now, we have no signs, no confirmation signals to tell us that this bullish trend is over. So the daily time frame still looking extremely bullish. Be aware that obviously we have these points of resistance to watch out for, as I just mentioned earlier, where the price could likely struggle at. But just in the immediate short term, during that larger bullish trend, expect a little bit of a cool off to continue. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Solana. Obviously, we're currently playing out a bullish trend, bullish price structure, and the momentum is still pointing in the bullish direction on the daily time frame. But we're now running into resistance in between roughly 180 to 185, as I've already been saying many times here on the channel since before we reached that area. And so far, that's exactly where the price is starting to struggle at, as we can see. But if we see a breakout above 185, expect more resistance at the golden pocket here in between around 191 to 199. And as for short-term support, in case we were to see any little pullback here, expect a lot of support at roughly 167. And if we're taking a look at the 8-hour time frame, technically speaking, the bullish cup and handle pattern is still actively playing out, with a bullish price target still sitting at around $194. And that technical price target and this bullish price pattern would only invalidate if we see a confirmed breakback below this breakout level right here, which is sitting at around $158. So while we're still holding above that level, technically the pattern is still playing out with an active price target, once again, still at around $193 to $194, give or take. And at least for now, I would expect a lot of support at, once again, 167 and also a lot of support at 158 if the the price were to actually get back to those levels. And if we're zooming further into the immediate short term, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, currently the price of Solana is also playing out a short-term bearish divergence. As we can see, this has already been confirmed with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed in the 4-hour Solana RSI. So this once again means that we're most likely going to play out just a bit of a short-term cool-off, most likely for a couple of days, give or take, because the most likely outcomes from a bearish divergence is either a short-term pullback in the price or at best a bit of choppy sideways price action. So basically lacking momentum, showing a bit of weakness in the immediate short term. But once again, at least for now, this may just be a little bit of a cool-off like this during a larger bullish trend. Maybe we retest one of these key levels of support and then head further towards the upside later on, especially if this price pattern remains active. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we can still see a significant bearish divergence currently forming, but not yet confirmed. And this may not even confirm for at least a number of weeks, maybe even a number of months, but it is looking very likely that at some stage it will confirm. Once again, it may be in a few months from now, but it's very unlikely that the weekly XRP RSI will create a higher high above this high that we saw back in around November to December 2024, considering how significantly high that peak in the RSI was. And so just be aware of this bearish divergence, extremely likely going to confirm at some stage, but once again, that may be in a few weeks or a few months from now, not currently confirmed, still something to watch out for, but nothing to act on. And the next significant Fibonacci extension level on the weekly time frame, the next major price target on the larger time frames, is the 2618 Fibonacci extension, sitting at around $4.60 to $4.70. But also be aware that between the current price and that next major price target, we could likely find some resistance along the way, so keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, as of recording this video, obviously we're seeing a little bit of a short-term pullback, a short-term cool-off, retesting the previous all-time high at around 330 to 340, and we could likely find some short-term support, as we did do over the last one day, some short-term support at around 330 to 340. But if the price confirms, especially a daily candle close back below 330, in that situation, we could potentially see a drop back down towards around $3 to $3.10, around there, just above $3 once again, as some major support. But even if that were to happen, for as long as we especially hold above $3, it's possible we remain within a larger bullish trend, because at least for now, we've not yet seen a major reversal or breakdown in the price structure. At least for now, we're still seeing higher lows and higher highs, still playing out a bullish trend. And remember, bullish trends can see little pullbacks along the way during the trend, just like how during a bearish trend, it is normal to see the occasional bounce towards the upside along the way towards the downside in the larger bearish trend. And also, as I always say here on the channel, keep in mind that XRP, along with a lot of the major altcoins, are highly correlated to each other, highly correlated to the rest of the crypto market. So for example, with Ethereum playing out a short-term bearish divergence, Solana playing out a short-term bearish divergence, currently seeing little short-term cool-offs, slight pullbacks in the short term, expect something similar as a very likely outcome, at least in the immediate short term for the price of XRP. Don't be surprised if we see just a slight little pullback in the shorter term if a lot of the other major cryptos are playing out something similar. And so that is the situation for the price of XRP. Expect a little bit more of a short-term cool-off as a likely scenario, especially if other major altcoins like Ethereum and Solana are cooling off in the short term. But zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, at least for now, we're still within a larger bull market. As we can see, we may just see a little bit of a short-term cool-off in the meantime. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, Chainlink is still currently struggling based on the candle closes at this exact area of resistance, still sitting in between around $17.50 to $18. And the latest daily candle closes here over the last couple of days confirmed pretty much right on $18, but we did not actually confirm a daily candle close above $18, as we could see. And so this means that the price is still currently struggling at this resistance. We've not yet actually confirmed the breakout. As I mentioned it recently here on the channel, we technically still need to confirm a daily candle close above $18 and ideally hold that as support in order to actually confirm the breakout above this area of resistance, which at least for now has not happened. And so continue to expect a lot of resistance in this area, once again at around $17.50 to $18 especially. And if we're taking a look at this daily Chainlink price chart, once again we have this resistance right here, but if we see a further breakout, especially confirm above $18, in that situation expect major resistance in between roughly $20 to $21 based on the golden pocket, and also these highs right here close to $20 acting as major resistance. And so those are the major points of resistance, the technical price targets to watch out for the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame. And as for support to watch out for, if we were to see a little bit of a short-term cool-off following a lot of the other major altcoins I've been mentioning throughout the video, playing out a bit of a short-term cool-off. If this were to continue here in the short term, expect some support at around $16.80 to $17 based on previous resistance here, flipping into new support, and significant support in between around $15.50 to $16. But in case you're new to all of this, I'm not saying the price will go to those prices. I'm just saying if the price goes to those prices, expect a lot of buyers at those prices, supporting the price from actually going lower. And so we can use these certain points of support and resistance to place certain orders, like buy orders or sell orders, maybe selling just before resistance or buying just before support as an example, not financial advice. And in terms of what I'm actually looking out for the price of Chainlink, in the immediate short term, I do expect a little bit more of a cool off. Like I've been saying throughout the video, Chainlink along with a lot of the altcoins are highly correlated to each other. And so just don't be surprised if we do see either a slight pullback or maybe a bit of a sideways consolidation, once again cooling off a little bit after all of the bullish price action, most likely for the next few days or so, but overall still within a larger bullish movement, a larger bullish trend, at least as of right now. And once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of any crypto, get set up ready to go using those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.